Okay, it is 1:30. Thank you all for joining us. Welcome to another Wicked Smart seminar. Today's topic is how to keep your brand alive while your doors are closed. And we have our facilitator, Andy Bonds, here again, marketing manager for Midwest Family. We'll be talking with some guest speakers today. And as we're going through our presentation, feel free to ask any question that you want through the chat box. I'll be monitoring that as Andy is facilitating the conversations today. So we will have some time at the end of our presentation to answer any questions that you might have with our guest speakers while we're live. And just so you know, once the presentation is done, it'll take about, couple hours or so. We can buffer the recording and get things sent out to you later today or for sure tomorrow morning. So thanks for joining. With that, I'm going to open the floor to Andy. Andy, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, TK. Welcome to the Wicked Smart, everybody. Wicked Smart webinar, everyone. So this is kind of a brainchild of ours that we've been putting together and refining each week. And I'm excited to help facilitate this conversation about how to keep your brand alive while your doors are closed. And I've brought two amazing experts on the call with us today to help you navigate through these interesting times, because kind of bringing local business owners just like you to help educate and talk about the challenges and things like that each week. So our goal is to have one of these each week, depending on the week. And bring in a different topic that'll be helpful for you. So it'll be quick and we'll keep things moving pretty quick. So each speaker will talk for about 10 minutes. I'll have some questions, kind of more of an interview format. And if you have some questions, we reserve for about 10 or 15 minutes, depending on how fast we go through our topics, to answer some specific questions to any of the experts or in general. So now Zach is a video expert. I've known Zach for a number of years now. He's one of the sharpest video people that I have met in my years in marketing. I'm excited to have him talk about his topic today. Kyler, he is a StoryBrand certified guide. If you aren't familiar with StoryBrand and Donald Miller, you should really get familiar with him. He is one of the top speakers on being able to help simplifying your message and help telling stories, and Kyler is one of his certified guides. So I'm really excited about what he's talking about today. And third, you'll get to hear a little bit more about from me. So look forward to sharing my message too. So Zach, he's the owner of Green Clock Agency and chief troublemaker. And he's going to share how to use video to push through this pandemic. So Zach, if you want to jump in, I'm really curious on kind of some of the strategies and things that you're seeing that brands are doing with video to help engage their customers, get results, kind of plan and strategize, things like that. So I'll kind of let you jump in if you're ready to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Andy, and hello, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well during this crazy time. Our business has definitely shifted quite a bit already. We're one of the few types of digital marketing service providers that do require a significant amount of human interaction, photographers and videographers. Most of the digital marketers are able to work remotely, and so they're able to still offer a lot of the same processes and services. And so we've had to kind of think innovatively, step outside of the box, and reposition ourselves in order to continue to thrive. And so we have found a number of different ways that we can still service our clients through video without having to be in the actual room with them. Some of these obviously will be pretty obvious, but I think others could be things that you may have not thought about. And so I'll just kind of breeze over these. And then Andy, if you want to go into more detail on any specific ones, let me know. And I can also email out one-page documents on any of these with full information if anybody would like to know. But so some of the things that we've adapted and we've started to do, just kind of two different categories that I think most people fit into right now. most businesses. Number one is businesses who are still essential and they're still thriving and they're still doing well can take advantage of doing Facebook ads and YouTube ads and things of that nature. But most of what I've put together today are businesses, because majority of businesses are struggling right now, and they're struggling to find ways to differentiate themselves. So most of these ideas are things that you can do either for free yourself or very low cost. And so the first is using your cell phone, using webinars like this. There's a lot of different live streaming that you could be doing. You can be talking about your service or product and connecting with your clients. You could be sending out just simple video messages to your team to continue to build culture, to continue to build momentum within your team. You could send simple cell phone videos to your clients, checking in on them. Maybe if you're doing a proposal and you haven't had the opportunity to actually meet the client because we're all social distancing and working from home, you could record a quick little cell phone video. And I've got a couple videos on our Facebook page that give you some tips on how to more effectively use your cell phone. But you could send them a thank you video with the proposal to have that human interaction and that personal touch. Couple other ones one that I really like, that I feel like a lot of people miss the mark on even prior to this pandemic, that I think would be a great time to start really diving deep and thinking more about, is repurposing content that you've already created. And so many times when we have shot videos in the past, you'll only use that video one time, or you'll only use one version of that video. Oftentimes when you create video content, there's several different takes or several different things that will go into accomplishing that one video. And so if you've ever created a promo video or a homepage video or any type of blog video, maybe go back to that project and see if there's any additional repurposing of that content that you could use right now at this time, because that wouldn't require any additional recording or human to human interaction. Some other things that you could start considering and thinking about if you've ever wanted to do for your business is starting a YouTube channel. A lot of businesses are on Facebook, but a lot are not on YouTube, and they're missing out on a huge audience. YouTube is the largest social media platform in the world, and it's the second highest search engine next to Google. And so if you haven't created a YouTube channel for your business, it's something that you could look into, start researching, start brainstorming what type of content and topics you'd like to talk about to add value. You could also start to prepare for upcoming projects. So a lot of how businesses use video requires multiple different steps. I mean, it's not just getting out the camera and shooting a video. There's a lot of researching, there's a lot of brainstorming, there's a lot of script writing and marketing and strategy behind using video and using it effectively. And so really it's only that one day of production, or sometimes 2 days of production, that requires the human to human personal interaction. But there's a lot of other things that you could be brainstorming, you could be thinking about, you could be doing research, watching videos for inspiration, talking with people who know video to help write a script, give you some additional tips. And then just real quick, some of the other just types of videos that don't require people to people would be drone videos. If you had any type of facility that you wanted to get footage of, if there's any farmland, or if there's anything that you've ever wanted to get to maybe show a project, maybe you're in commercial real estate and you wanted to get drone footage of that project, those are videos that could be accomplished right now during this pandemic. Product videos, so you could send a videographer or a photographer your products, and they could still be taking photos and videos in their home studio, so it doesn't require any person-to-person. Having clients record testimonials, so you could do a Zoom call with one of your clients and record a testimonial with them and post that on your social media. Or you could just have them, you could reach out to them and have them record it themselves right on their cell phone. There are virtual tours. A lot of offices are empty right now, and a lot of commercial real estate brokers have been wanting to get video footage of their office space for years, and they haven't had the ability to be able to do so because they have tons of tenants in their offices. Right now could be a great time to get virtual tours if you're in commercial real estate, or if you even wanted to get, like if you have a larger office that you wanted to show your clients on where to go or what to expect, or maybe it's your layout or your space. Real estate videos is another one that it doesn't require any people. You can just get the actual house, as well as creating videos for your banner videos for your website. So there's a lot of different things with stock footage, repurposing content. But ultimately, in summary, although we have shifted majorly because of this pandemic, like majority of businesses have, I've yet to have a phone call from anybody that is wanting to use video that we couldn't creatively think of a way that they could still incorporate video and still use video to connect with their clients, solve a problem, and to move their business forward.
Great. So one of the things that you mentioned is sending video messages to clients. And that really stuck with me from one of our messages last week. Jared from Functional Integrated Training, he had talked about how their communication to their clients has kept their retention close to 85 to 90% right now. So I really like the video messages. I've seen a tool called BombBomb used before. I know you can send them through like Facebook messages and Instagram DMs at times. Is there a tool that you've seen clients use to send video messages from a one-to-one basis?
Yeah, the two that I think have been the most popular and the ones that we use ourselves. I have a personal connection with a lot of our clients, and we, discuss things and text. So oftentimes it's easy to just record a quick 30-second video on your cell phone and text it to them or email it to them. But the other one that I would say I use second is Zoom, the platform that we're on right now. You can, on the free version, you're allowed to record, and you can send. It's quick, easy. It's a smaller format. It doesn't take up a large amount of storage on your hard drive, and so those have been my two favorite. But I know that there's many, many, many different platforms that people, and like if you wanted to start going and getting more detailed with it and actually start editing it, there's tons of free apps out there that you can download on your cell phone and make basic adjustments. Or if you're wanting to record a couple different takes and put them together, you can do basic editing, and there's a lot of free apps out there as well.
Cool. Yeah, I think the other one that you mentioned is virtual tours. I know that from a Google standpoint, you can kind of have a video tour of your business. So that would be a really good idea to be able to have that on your Google, where customers can actually get a tour of your business right from Google. So that was a really interesting idea that you said that stuck to me too. So I think we have about a minute or two left. Is there now I know some businesses, can you give a few quick tips for the businesses that might feel like they're a little bit behind the game in video, like one thing or something they could do start right now to kind of get that rust off of starting anything new or scary or intimidating, kind of like video is, because not everybody's super comfortable with it?
Yeah, if it's in regards to being nervous to be in front of the camera, to me, the best tip that I have is to just start practicing, even if you practice by yourself. But when you practice, record it. Even if it's just 10 seconds or 15 seconds, the more that you're in front of the camera and the more you do it, the better you're going to get. But you'll start to realize that your comfort zone will get more comfortable as you try it out a few times, but eventually you're going to want to send it to somebody that you trust their feedback before you go live with it, so you can feel comfortable with it. But it really and truly just start recording little short clips with your cell phone. And then once you feel comfortable enough to share it with somebody, even if it's your spouse or your kids or a colleague, just share it with them and just ask them, does this seem like me? Because the important part of video and the important part to remember is that you don't have to be a professional actor to be in front of the camera. You just have to be genuine, be authentic, be yourself. and people will respond well with your message and connect with your brand.
Yeah, I really like that point, to where it's like the authenticity is okay in today's world, to where as long as you're just being genuine, even if it is your cell phone camera and you're using sunlight and the mic of the or just your earbud mic, people are okay with it as long as you're just being yourself and being leading with kind of outside your comfort zone a little bit. So awesome.
Yeah, it's been a big shift for us because, being professional videographers our whole careers, and then now having to shift to being okay with cell phones and Zoom calls and stuff. So it's been a big shift for us, but it's been fun and a fun journey so far.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I appreciate what you've shared. Now, Zach did mention us a few kind of one-page PDFs that he and his team have been giving to his past customers and stuff on how to use different live video and using video on some social media sites. And he has those prepared. So his email's there if you want to shoot him an email and find out some more information. That's about all we have for this topic today. So I appreciate you stepping on here today, Zach. And I'm sure everybody on here does too. So
yeah, real quick, Andy, if I could, just for 30 seconds, just
sure.
out the templates we've put together, that if anybody has any additional interest, would be if you want tips on how to use your cell phone and how to be more effective, if you want to know like which live streaming platforms are the best and like the pros and cons of live streaming, which apps are best for editing, if you want to download an app on your cell phone and you want to do some basic editing that are free, as well as tips and tricks on how to start your own YouTube channel. But if there's any of the other topics that I mentioned that people want more information, I'm happy to create that and provide any. But we've already got those PDFs created. And so if anybody wants to find out more information on those, we're happy to send those out.
Cool. Thanks, Zach.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. So our next speaker is Nixon. I introduced him a little bit in the beginning. I'm really excited about his topic. I got a chance to talk to him a few days ago, and he's going to talk about something called the hero's journey, helping creating your story plan and helping you kind of create an offer and sharing a few examples. I want to stop my screen here and pass it over to Kyler because he has a few slides here. So just bear with us for a second. Kyler, can you take it over?
Yep, I sure can. This will be quick. So, ultimately, Andy and our conversation the other day centered around this idea that most businesses right now are spending so much time and energy communicating with their customers, right? Tons of emails being sent out, updating website copy, physical communication on your buildings or whatever else you're doing. But the problem is that if you're not speaking clearly to your customers, you're probably not going to win on the tail end of this pandemic because you're confusing your customers. So like Andy mentioned, I'm a story brand guide and I specialize in this 7-part framework created by Donald Miller. I'll just breeze through it really quickly. Like you mentioned, Building a Story Brand is a great book that you can get that goes more in depth about this framework. But we're going to focus on just a couple parts of the framework today. So every story follows this framework, and we as businesses can apply the framework to our messaging to communicate clearly with our audience as well. So every character encounters a problem. They meet a guide who gives them a plan, calls them to action, which results in success and helps them avoid failure. On a basic fundamental level, every single movie follows that framework. And so when we apply those principles to our business, we can use storytelling to, like I said, engage our audience and speak and communicate clearly with our customers, especially now during crisis. So that's just a quick overview. Andy, what do you want to jump into first? I'll go ahead and stop sharing. I just wanted to run through that framework really quick.
The biggest thing that can you talk about the biggest mistake most businesses make when they come to their own kind of telling their own story?
Yeah. I think most businesses will say, especially right now in the age of like narrative marketing, it's like, tell your story. What's your story? We can help you tell your story. The problem with that line of thinking is that people don't care about your story. They care about their own story where they're the hero. So the paradigm shift for the story brand framework, and this is game changing, especially right now when there's so much fear and uncertainty going around, like in the economy and with our customers and stuff like that. The biggest paradigm shift is that you are the guide in the story, not the hero. Nobody cares about your story. They care about their story where they're the hero. So I think the biggest, if you only took one thing away right now, it would be this idea that you should be the guide your customers well, lead with empathy, lead with authority, encourage them, and clearly communicate what problems you're helping them solve. So just being the guide in the story, I think is really important. Some examples in movies of guides would be like Yoda from Star Wars, Hey Mitch from Hunger Games, right? Every single movie has a guide who can help the hero get to where they need to go. And so I think that's the big takeaway for businesses right now.
And we had talked about some possible examples that you had said of some people that you've seen that are doing this really well right now, maybe in the current environment. Did you get a chance to see, maybe we'll give one example of someone that if they can go look, be like, oh, okay, this is a good example of someone that's doing it well?
Yeah, I'll do a local business here. I mentioned this. I have obviously a vested interest in this business. It's kind of a family tie, but the Princeton Club here in Madison, it's a chain of health clubs. And I feel like they've really done a good job of being the guide in this situation. So obviously health clubs are shut down. And so they're losing revenue or they're not able to bring in new sales. Well, what they've done is they've pivoted their business slightly. They've allowed people to extend their memberships for free, saying, hey, I understand this is a tough situation. We're going to go ahead and extend your membership when this all clears up. And they've also been sending out free at-home workouts from their trainers. They've been sending over free diet plans. They've been checking up on their clients. So I think being the guide for them has been just as simple as saying, what can we offer that's valuable to our customer base that doesn't really cost us anything, but it allows us to maintain that connection and to support them through that. On a large example, the example I gave to you, Disney has done a great job of being the guide. So their theme parks are closed down. Lots of their revenue streams have been shut down. They've still been releasing virtual rides from all of their theme parks. So you can go online and ride Splash Mountain for free, right? Or whatever. They've been releasing movies that were in theaters and they've been putting them on Disney Plus. So there's lots of things that we can do as businesses to be the guide for our customers. And one thing that I'll mention, because I've been seeing it so many times over the last month, is desperation is never a trait of a guide. So like if your business is coming across as desperate right now, like we need your business, please help us, please do this, please do that. One, you're making the story about yourself. And again, nobody cares about your story. And two, desperate is just not something that people can resonate with. They want strength in a business that they are supporting. So if you're a restaurant, maybe instead of saying, please come support us, we need your business, you change your messaging and talk to the problem that you're solving for your customers. So, hey, being stuck at home is hard. Pizza makes it better. Come for free curbside pickup, right? It's the same idea, right? We need your business, but it's flipped to make the character the hero of the story instead of your business.
So can you talk about some of the biggest mistakes you see when people are like structuring their brand messaging? I know Donald Miller talks a lot about kind of some of the big mistakes that people talk about. Could you kind of share maybe just a few that stick out to you that you see people doing way too often?
Yeah, aside from positioning yourself as the hero, which I feel like we've kind of hammered that home, the second is you're not talking about your customers' problems. You're just not identifying that you solve a problem for them. Beyond that, you're not giving your customers a clear plan to move forward with you. So what does this process look like? Dora the Explorer, great example of this. First, we're going to cross the bridge and then we're going to go through the field, right? It's kind of cheesy, but there's a reason they do that because people like to know what's next. The other big mistake, I kind of joke about this, but is calls to action. If you don't have a call to action on your website that is especially timely right now, order, delivery, schedule a call, whatever that call to action needs to be, you're losing money. Like I 100% promise you're losing money. I've jokingly told some businesses before that if I could double their business and they gave me 10% of that, would they do it? And obviously you're like, yeah, in a heartbeat, I would do that. And all I would do is go to their website and put a call to action button that says buy now. That's all I would do because people are hiding their cash register. That's what that button is it's your cash register. It's how people can connect with you, how they can do business with you. So if your website doesn't have calls to action and doesn't tell people what you want them to do, they're not going to take action. So that's probably the biggest, kind of few mistakes that I see businesses making.
Cool. Yeah, I remember you sharing a tip with me in our conversation to where if you wanted to kind of do like a self-analysis of if you're positioning it's as a me, or as a guide on your website, what was the one thing you mentioned?
Yeah. So, a lot of times businesses aren't intentionally positioning themselves as the hero. They're just doing what people have said, right? Tell when you started, what you do, why you're awesome, all that type of stuff. But you can kind of gauge whether or not you're positioning yourself as the hero by going to your website or maybe an email campaign or something like that. And you can use, like, I'm on a Mac, it's Command F or like maybe Control F on if you have a PC. It's just finding text on your website, and you do a search for you and your, and you do a search for we and our. If you're saying we and our more than you're saying you and your, you're talking about yourself too much. And obviously there's some grace in there. It doesn't have to be completely you and your, completely we and our. But if it's too heavy we and our, you're telling your story instead of telling a story where the character is the hero.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's the last question I had, and you hit all the bases. So is there anything else? I think it's about maybe a minute or so. Any other final thoughts that you want to leave people with today?
Yeah, for sure. I think that this is so foundational for businesses when it comes to storytelling. People say, storytelling is kind of a buzzword in marketing right now. And I would say if I had any advice to you, if you're listening to this, I would say go to Amazon right now, type in Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, buy it. I think there's a free Kindle version. You can read it in a weekend, and it's a game changer for clients. We had one client in particular who only implemented the framework. They didn't change anything else about their model, and they increased their revenue by 33% because they were able to clearly communicate with their audience. So I would say start there, start with a clear message and communicate from a position of strength and clarity, and you're going to win every single time. Yeah.
And I first heard him on this podcast called Leadership. He's featured on there quite a few times. He's on YouTube. So if you want to get,
he's got his own podcast too as well.
Yeah. So he's all over the place. So if you want to find it before you buy the book, for anything like me, I like doing video because having a chance to read sometimes is it's easier just kind of passively.
Yep, I get it.
Cool. Thanks, Kyler. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So this is my first time getting a chance to share some of the things that I nerd out about. So I appreciate the opportunity to share it with you. I love systems, and I like things that are tangible like leads. And I know that a lot of times as a business owner, you don't have enough time to work on your business because you're too busy working in your business. So I think right now you've been given a gift of time to be able to work on your own lead generation system. So I wanted to kind of share a little bit of some basics for your building your lead system here, and try to keep it pretty high level and not super jargony. But if I get too jargony, feel free to ask a question. So my goal is to help you create a lead generation system. And what does that really mean? So my goal is for every business to be able to take strangers and kind of take them through a series of events, or kind of like a guided journey, kind of what Kyler was talking about, and turning them into raving fans. And there's really 4 phases to it. Today, I'm just going to talk about kind of phase 1, the lead generation phase. But after you get past there's another phase kind of helping them to get to know, like, and trust you. That's typically like the branding and awareness phase, where most advertising and things like that live. And then another phase is kind of helping them give you money in exchange for a problem that you solve, and really reducing as much friction as you can throughout that buying process. And then another phase is to be able to do that again, and then encourage them to tell everyone about you, kind of like the helping them, referral programs and things like that. And this is a system that I could probably spend an 8-hour workshop with you on, but I have 10 minutes. So this is just a quick customer journey map to where, as you're positioning each of your branding tools and your marketing tools and your advertising tools, you want to know where your tool lives and where kind of your journey is broken. So first you want to kind of just like a personal relationship. You want to first get them to know, like, and trust you. So get them aware of who you are, get them to engage with your brand, might be getting to them to your website or social media. And then you want to get their digits. You want to get their email. You want to be able to follow up with them, so you can kind of repeat this process as many times as you can until they give you money or buy your first product, and then buy more from you and buy more and advocate and tell their friends. So I won't dive a lot into this whole journey because it's a lot, but my main goal is to really focus on the subscribe stage. So to kind of getting their digits through email. So, and a good way to do that is developing a lead magnet. And if you YouTube this, there's lots of information out there on being able to do that. Kind of pulled this from HubSpot on a definition of what a lead magnet is. But basically, it's just a tool that you give to somebody that's typically a downloadable piece of information, and they give you their email address. And you see them all over the place, but most businesses don't have one on their website. And most websites typically only convert, like only about 1 to 3% of the people that visit your site are going to do what you want them to do if your main goal is to sell them a service or have them fill out a contact form or call you. But if you implement a lead magnet, you'll typically see that percentage jump to a 5, 10 to 15% of your web traffic of giving you email addresses if you do it right and you do it well with a good strategy. So those are some information and numbers that if I were you, I'd be really excited about. So basics of a lead magnet is you solve a problem for them in a valuable resource, they give you their information. And if you want a shortcut on how do I get started, there's 2 routes you could go based on where they're at in their shopping journey. So if they're like researching or if they're ready to buy now, you kind of have to choose one. But answer a question that they already have or answer one that you know they should have but don't know it yet. So, and I'll give you some examples of other types of businesses where they use lead magnets. So this is Sudath. They're a moving company. They created a office moving checklist. So they're solving a problem, helping their target customer, their audience, giving them a resource like, hey, here's a checklist just so you don't forget anything. And this is building their email list and also positioning, they know something about this person if they're downloading this, right? Here's another one. So this is from mywedding.com. It's a wedding checklist. So for brides, don't miss a detail with wedding checklists. So very simple, very easy to create for somebody at my wedding, but very helpful for somebody that's planning a wedding and very overwhelmed, right? So they're solving a problem based on where they're at in their journey. This is also a very simple lead magnet. It's just a coupon. I've heard it called a velvet rope offer, to where it's like, to get access to our coupon, first you have to give us your email address. It's pretty simple, but sometimes simple isn't simple is sexy, right? Because it works. So this is one that we created at Midwest Family. This is the advertising ROI Toolkit, a little bit of self-promotion, I guess. 5 tools to increase your sales now without increasing your ad budget. This is something we created up that lived on our old website. It's not up there right now, but it's just kind of an example of an ebook. It's about 20 pages. It talks about 5 different tools that I think every business should have for their follow-up strategy. So this is another example of something that Midwest Family does. We offer a free website and kind of a free marketing analysis. And part of that analysis is going through how their website's doing. This company, Greenie's Line of Bin, is a company in my hometown here in McFarland. I did a quick analysis of their website, and they get a graded report of like, hey, this is where your SEO is at, and kind of gives you a glaring view of, oh wow, they really should fix on what's going on with their social. So we offer this. I know in Madison we have this on our site, but this is a resource that we can provide to any business across our whole Midwest Family group here. So this is an example to where it's an exchange of value, to where it's like, hey, how's my website doing? It's like, okay, well, here it is. And this is a free report and kind of exchange of value, right? And a very valuable piece of information. So what will Lead Magnet do for your business? Well, number one, it'll grow your email list. I was talking with Kyler about this on Tuesday on the biggest resource that most small businesses don't or is underutilized is your email list. It still works. It's not new. It's not exciting, but it's effective, especially right now because you own it. To where if Facebook shut down or Amazon changes an algorithm or Google does, if your only traffic source is through pay-per-click ads on Google and they change something, you're in trouble, And going through this pandemic, if you don't have an active email list, being able to communicate people through email still works. Now, Lead Magnet could also kind of identify where people are at in the buying behavior. I talked a little bit about that. It also helps you kind of become an authority in your market because you're giving value where your customer is just waiting. Hey, give us your money. Give us your money. And you're like, you know what? Here's a free resource that I spent hours and probably years of my life developing the knowledge and skill set that I answer these questions all the time. I just get them all. I just have now packaged them into a pretty PDF that I will give to you for free. And all you have to do is just give me your email address. So it also improves your ability to follow up because, like I said, only about 1 to 3% of the customers that come to your website do what you want them to do. So, and it might be a year or 6 months or 3 months before they're ready to do business with you. By having their email address, you can continue to build and facilitate that relationship. And it also will increase the number of leads your sales team can follow up with. So not everybody probably has a sales team. Maybe if you're the business owner, you are the salesperson, but it gives you a warm lead that you can reach out to. And if you structure it strategically, it can really help improve how quick you can close deals. It helps you charge more, being more of a authority in your market. You don't have to be the bottom dweller from a price standpoint, and it can really help. You can just facilitate that early part of that relationship. So it is something that you can work on now while you're at home. And we do have experts at Midwest Family that can kind of guide you through this and help from either a strategy standpoint of like, how do I build that? Or what do I say? Or what should I use? To what are the tools and technology I need now that I have it for it to live on my website? So, yeah, so that's what I had to cover today. So, TK, have you seen any questions come through?
Yeah, there's been a couple, and there's one actually for you while you're still hot with your mic. Can you explain the privacy laws thing? There's a client on the call that is concerned about email and mining people's data.
Sure.
What do we have to do to be compliant with privacy laws regarding opt-in and opt-out?
Yeah, so there's every website, if you're collecting data through Google Analytics or your Facebook Pixel or really anything, you need to have a privacy policy and a terms and condition policy to be able to make sure you are following the rules, especially in California. They're the most strict, or if you're doing business in Europe and the rest of the states are going to catch up soon. There's software out there that if you don't have one, that'll write it for you, where you can pay $50 to $100 to have your privacy policy written. And as long as you're disclosing it and putting it on your website and following those rules, then you cover your business from privacy policy, red flags and that kind of stuff.
Okay, thank you. This question is for Zach. And the question is, you alluded to this when you said something about how as professional videographers, it's been hard to pivot using your iPhone for videos. As a small business owner, not having a budget to hire a videographer, is using your iPhone predominantly cheesy or not?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, there's a lot of different tips that we've put together videos, and I can send those out for additional like technical tips on how to use your cell phone more effectively. Because if you're just moving it all around and you can't hear you and you can't see the person, or it's, distracting to where it's, vibrating, then yes, it could be. But if you're doing the basics and you're doing the basics right, I've seen cell phone videos as professional YouTube ads make millions of dollars. So the cell phone is very acceptable in today's day and age of marketing, as long as you're doing the basics the right way, and as long as you're presenting your message in a clear way and a genuine way.
Another question for you, Zach, regarding YouTube. You also mentioned in the beginning of your conversation that if you don't have a YouTube channel, you should start. How does one go about doing that, and how do we promote the YouTube channel?
Yeah, great question. So, I mean, so your YouTube is automatically associated with your Gmail. So if you have a Gmail account, you can set it up right through there, just youtube.com, and just start a new account. If you don't have a Gmail, then you can set up one for free, and you can set up a YouTube channel for free. But ultimately, you want to be able to think about what value you have to be able to provide and what information you're going to be talking about on YouTube. And there organically is going to be your only free way to promote it, and word of mouth. But there are ways to go about promoting it with ads and different video campaigns. But that would require a budget and a strategy that would require a lot more information that I could go into on a one-on-one call.
Okay, thank you. This question's for Kyler. And talking about the Story Brand book, for people that didn't notice the chat, can you please repeat again the title of what you recommended people to download on Amazon?
Yeah, building a story brand. If you just search story brand, it's just all one word, story, and then brand spelled exactly as it sounds. You can find it on Amazon. It's also one of the top bestsellers in like business and marketing books. So even if you just kind of scroll through the list, you'd find it pretty quickly.
Great, thank you. So we do have about 2 minutes. If there are people in the gallery that want to open up their mic and ask a question or put it through the chat room, we've got our experts on the call for about another 120 seconds or so. Does anybody have a question that hasn't been answered? And I'll scroll through to see if I'm noticing anything new. A lot of similar stuff. If not, thank you. Andy, would you please present what's going to be happening next week and the following week, please?
Yep. So next week, we're going to take a week off because we have an internal meeting at Midwest Family here. So the week after that will be how to lead and rally a company through a layoff. We have Nikki Ryberg of Ryberg Group. She's a career coach and CEO. She's going to be talking about kind of how to kind of like softly, how to be just strategic and how to be able to sleep at night if you have to lay your employees off, and being able to give some tips for business owners to keep lead with their heart through layoffs. And I've spoke with her last week, and I'm excited about her topic. And then Jessica Kramer, she's an attorney. She'll be able to kind of handle some of the kind of help sort through some of the legalese, especially with all the different changes and regulations and things flying out there that are changing by the day sometimes. So she'll be able to help sort through that and give you some pertinent information right now if you've had to or might have to go through laying off some of your employees or furloughing or things like that. So yeah.
Excellent. So we anticipate that being a real interactive Q&A session. So if you'd like to join us in 2 weeks, have your questions prepared. We can try to be as helpful as possible in real time while we're talking with these 2 individuals. So with that being said, thank you all for joining us for this series, and we hope to see you back here in 2 weeks. And just FYI, this will be recorded, and we will get you the presentation by early morning tomorrow at the latest, probably this afternoon though. Thanks so much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, stay healthy.